I'll turn it over to.
Ready? Right. Okay. Great. Thank you. Wow. Echo, right? Okay, great. Thank you, Gretchen and Paige, and for all of you here to attend this what we call a workshop, but it's just a discussion. Okay, so this is I'm really happy. This will not be like a teaching, right? So teaching like teaching variations, everything, right? So, but here today we will just have a discussion together, talking about how can we teach digital forensics, right, in the college education environment, right? So there are a lot of topics, there are a lot of technologies, and they need a lot of expertise in this area. So to my understanding, digital forensics is a very hands-on discipline. Okay, so there are a lot of topics, right? Some of the topics could be like about the criminal justice. Some of them could be investigation procedures, those things. But the core in our world is like digital, is hands-on. Okay. So, my name is Michael too from Purdue University Northwest. So I have been in this field for about 20 years. So I take a lot of training, and I also get a lot of certifications and taught many years of digital forensics. Digital forensics is so tough. So even have taught like 20 years, I still need to practice a few hours before I teach 2 hours of class. So that's kind of like a headache, right? So much of procedures. Okay, I cannot remember where's the evidence, right? So if you are trying to find this evidence for Windows forensics, or also like those offers, metadata, those things, then it will be very difficult. So sometimes even I find this evidence for like 2 months ago, but after 2 months later, then the evidence cannot be found, right? We just had a IoT training, mobile forensic training to law enforcement. So in October, I can get the evidence, find the evidence very quickly. And then in March, we have another session trained to like another 30 law enforcement officers. Then I tried to find the same thing. Then I cannot find it because they group the evidence into the GUID. And the GUID, there's like so many GUIDs, right? How can you find those things? So it's a very embarrassing, and then, well, that's always happen, right? So it's very hands-on. Okay, so I know that today is more about discussion and maybe a little bit of practice. Okay, a little bit of practice. So I do have a kind of like a little bit 30 case environment for you guys. So if you have computers, if you really want to have a taste of those like labs, what it looks like, and the tools, right? Then you can get access for free just for today. So I'm going to hand out. So we have 30 test machines. So they will have the same URL, of course, right? It's an ADG environment. Okay. So anybody know about ADG? Use ADG? Oh, okay, that's great. Okay. So we have an ADG at PNW. So for our cybersecurity workforce training, and also to support the K-12 community. So for those high school teachers, if they want to use this ADG, we will give them for free, and we will help them to even develop the labs and then put everything ready so their students can just use that labs, okay, for their tasks. So we have 30 guest machines access. So we have each one has their unique username and password. So I would like to hand out this. So Michael, yeah, we have my colleague. His name is also Mike. My name is also Mike too. So Michael's. Okay, so but you need to have a computer to access. Okay. The reason I want to send out now is because the login could take a little bit of time. Okay, and hopefully when you log in, you will be able to find the So if you have, you need to have a computer. If you don't have a computer, then you can watch the recording, right? Okay, since we are waiting for everybody to get the handout, right? So I just ask one question. So do you guys know that FTK? How many of you use FTK? Okay, so do you guys know that since everybody talking about AI, right? You guys know FTK has integrated some AI tools. What's the tool they used? What are they used for? AI tools? Well, maybe. So there's one I know, I use. So there's one is for the 7.4, 7.3, or 7.4. So they have a new feature about the image recognition and using TensorFlow. So then they can train and find the pictures. Because some cases you may have like hundreds, more than hundreds or like millions of pictures, right? Okay. So they want to find out the person, right? Okay. So okay. So I think everybody had the handout, right? So do you mind if you want to get to the environment? So because I wanted you to log in and then to check, because we will, after maybe 20 or 30 minutes, we will have a little practice, okay, little practice. So just go to ndg.pnw.edu, right? Follow the instruction on the first page. So I already had my username and password there. So you are supposed to put this username and password.
So there should be a lab reserved.
Yeah, the labs are reserved. Okay.
If you refresh the page, it'll still.
So then you will have to choose one of that. So if you are lab one, then you just use lab one, right? Guess one, then you are using lab one. So just take a look at your the username and password, right? So if your username is PNW PNW guest one, right? Okay. PNW guest one, then you are using PNW guest one. Okay, so I don't want to log in because I don't know if I will broke the environment I already in. Okay. But maybe I can check. Right? Hopefully we're not. So these are all the labs I have. So I can watch you get into your environment. So if you have like guest one, then just go to in this lab. And if you're guest two, then just go to this lab, right? Okay. And guest three, just go to the other virtual machine. So basically we have 13 virtual machines running. And
Anybody not get one, but before they want to.
so it's based on your username. Yeah, account. So if you are using one, guest one, then you just go to the first machine, right? And the machine for guest one.
You guys can also sit together and share a computer. Since there's a lot more people in person. So do you guys want to
If you don't have, that's okay, right? So we can, you can watch the recordings later. Okay. So this is not like required, right? We don't ask you to submit anything. Okay. So everybody get your virtual machines access? Okay, so what do you get? Probably is in one, for example, I can go to this student, guess one, right? Maybe I can go. That's you, right? Okay. So if you are here, right, then you just need to click on client one. And I think the password should be, the Windows password should be PNW and this password, okay? at SSW0RD. Oh, you don't need? Oh, that's already logged in then. But there, yeah, maybe you don't need any of this. Okay, that's great. It doesn't need, yeah, but I think FTK is already open for you.
No, it was, the Celebrate is FTK was closed.
Oh, really?
Oh, maybe it's open.
Yeah, it's maybe you are open. Yeah, because the reason is that when we do the training, we find out sometimes because of load balance issues, sometimes they take a little bit more time, so it will be frustrating, right? It's mainly because of the servers. FTK server license, I talked to them many times because there's at least 10 years. The license has some issues, license server, so they don't do a very, very good job on that. So not the perfect. Okay. So I think you should have this FTK case up, and then you should have this Celebrate case, right, up. So that's later on, we will need to navigate and take a look, okay? So I just want to get things ready, okay? Okay, great. So I think you all had the environment ready, and then let us to have some discussions, okay? So first thing I would like to talk about is about my personal view, personal experience about this evolution of digital forensic curriculum. I get into this field after I graduated from KBD, right? So I do a lot of research in the theoretic, my research pure, a lot of mathematics. I remember that I did like 12 page or more than 12 page of proof for one of the themes. So my two theoretical, right? Then I needed to teach forensics for my first job. Then what I can do, right? I don't know anything about forensics, so I spent many years of learning myself and get training. So for the but it's very lucky when I get into the field, we have the GUI-based tools, FTK, in case. Those are the first two were commercial ones, right? And then before that, I remember that there are some training from Kansas State. Is anybody from Kansas State? Kansas State is in Georgia, right? Okay. So they have the training for the law enforcement and also for the instructors back in early 2000, okay, early 2000. So they are, the labs are very well designed, but they all using command line things. You need to have expertise, knowledge in that field. Then you can know. For example, if you want to find the bad sectors, you have to find like okay hacks, right? You have to understand hacks and understand the file structure. So for me, I will just directly take the GUI-based way, right, approach. So I take training and then use FTK in case and teach in my class. Okay. When I take the first training, go to that time is WinXP, right? So WinXP, and we're using ID and Firefox for the browsers, and the login password is so simple and easy to break right in a few seconds. And then we have what else we have? Okay, so tools, right? Okay, so those are things. So when I take the training, 3-day or 5-day training for each of the subject topic, right? So then we need to take like an exam. So it's a closed book, and basically we can almost remember everything. So even though it's WinXP at that time, GUI based, it is still pretty simple. Looks as straightforward and pretty easy to remember everything. I'm so proud of myself. Oh, I know how to. I don't need a book. I can teach on the fly. So, but after a few years, Windows 8 come out, right? And Windows 10, then all those things have been changed. Okay. So then, there was lots of, applications, right? Software things. So if you want to find those evidence, there's no longer there. You need to dive deeper, dive deeper. And especially, Windows 10 version 2 comes out. That's the, kind of a game change for me. Before, when I teach like decryption, right? I can get also like login password decrypted, and also those web browsers password broken, but after that, it's no longer work. And you know what happened for access data? They stop to update the tool because they cannot catch up with the technology. Okay, so that's why there's no more applied decryption training from access data. Now is external, right? Okay, so later on, a few years later, Then cell phone, right? Like today, we barely use our like a desktop, right? We use some of the like laptops, but most of the time probably we'll use the cell phones, right? Okay. So then FTK really want to go into the field, and then they developed the tool. Does anybody know what tools they are developed? They have developed besides FTK, just for cell phone. So they call it like MP plus, right? Mobile forensic examiner plus, because they want to get the, of course, market, right? They know this is, growing market, okay? And they competed together with the Oxygen and Celebrite, right? Celebrite, any question? Heroin, right? Okay. So heroin, that's a very, very early, yeah. But like today, law enforcement use Celebrite. I think probably it's the dominant software. Okay. So Oxygen is the best for the iPhone. So then, they get the tool out, but after a couple years, they find out, their tools cannot be accepted by the court because they cannot get the consistent result out. So what happened? Of course, they have to give up, right? They already lag behind Celebrite, Oxygen. There's no way for them to be able to compete with this. So then they focus back to the Windows forensics. So what I'm talking about is that this field is like evolved too fast, right? Celebrite today is the most popular, most dominant tools, but it still cannot catch up with the apps, right? Applications and technology. So we had, for IoT, I don't think they has any, they are certified what they do, break in and analyze. Yes, question?
Yeah, what I typically see is everything's now logical recovery.
Mhm.
You can't get past, TPM on the device
Mhm.
plus encryption. So
Yes.
the ability to do physical recoveries are,
Yeah,
unless you have a lot of time for.
true, and it could, break the cell phones, right? So we have used the routine and use the jailbreak, but we kind of like have to try a few times. Sometimes it will, break the cell phones, right? So that's too dangerous. So yeah, logic extraction, okay, logic extraction. So they cannot even catch up with the technology, for those popular, apps, right? Okay. So anyway, so this is a very fast evolving field, okay, evolving field. So that's why we need to catch up, and I always get like calls from friends in our CAE community, right? Ask, okay, Mike, do you know if anybody can help us to teach a hands-on forensic course? Or can you, is there any way we can find a free resource for the, curriculum, right? Because most of the, it's not free, and they may, they may need to have license or whatever, okay? So, I mean, that's what we are all here today. So we would like to talk about the curriculum, right? Talking about the way how we teach, talk about the tools, and talk about especially the resource we can find, right? And maybe the needs, right, to the community, and we can, maybe talk to the PMO or whatever, right? So we can get everybody to have the resource available. So so any question? So you will have access, right? Okay, that's great. So I think I already talked a lot about myself, about the certification, institute training. So here I would like to talk about is because this could be something you could do it, right? Okay. So because we do need to get trainings sometimes, because if you study by yourself, it's very difficult to get all those training. Okay. So myself, for example, the CCO for Celebrite, right? For cell phones, they are like CCO and CCPA. So those two certificates is a must if you want to use a Celebrite. Okay. If you want to get the license for education, you must take those two trainings. And I mean, it's about $3,500, okay, to take those trainings is a must. And of course, they have the license, right? The license is about $5,000 for 1 year for 30 license or 25 license. I forgot about that. Okay, so it's pretty cheap, right? Compared to the industry, it's about 15,000. Yes. Certification.
Yes.
So certification is called the Certified certified operator. That one is mainly for the UFED, so it's for the extraction.
Cool.
Yeah, and the other one, CCPA, is about certified physical analyzer. That like you have to pass the extraction you did, right? Okay. So, well, here are some of the industry training opportunities for you if you want to take. So I have taken all of these. Sometimes it's like 3 days, sometimes 5 days for each of those training. Okay, I did like 2007, 8. I take training on the access data, Windows XP, right? OS, operating system, FTK solve, internet forensics, and applied decryption. So, and also 2016, that's Windows 10 version 1, right? Version 1, and I will take those, of course, OS, right? And registry, advanced FTK, and then I also take the Linux forensics, Mac forensics, and the cloud forensics. So cloud forensics is more about the client side. It's not at the server side because you don't have access, right? Okay. So 2020, because of the Windows kind of like version 2, right? You no longer be able to decrypt those things and to change them up. So then I also take something similar. Okay. So, but I also go to the mobile side, right? At that time they have like advanced SQLite and FTK mobile and iOS forensics. So so those are all the trainings. Okay, so later on I will talk about the training for each of the course if you want to take. Okay, if you want to teach. Okay. So I don't want to talk about my research. Okay, nobody cares, right? So teaching. Well, I have taught many years. Sometimes I receive pretty very good feedback, right? Teaching evaluation before I get training. So so then sometimes because if I change too much of the curriculum, so that's one thing. If you change too much of the curriculum, make sure that all the materials has been updated. If you're not updated, then students will complain. They cannot find the evidence, then they will complain, and there will be a disaster. Okay? So that's something. Sometimes they want me to provide the most relevant, the most current technology. Okay, I can provide it to you, but some of the curriculum is not updated, right? For example, evidence pass is not there, right? I forgot it, then they will complain. So it's always a dilemma, right? Difficult, okay? Oh, I should not do this, right? What is this? Got it? Okay. Okay, but anyway, later on I need to go back to the non-sharing because I need to access the NDG, right? Okay, so yeah, I cannot read it from here. So now I will read it here. Okay, so to my understanding, the forensics technical side, okay, we could offer of course, we could offer many courses, right? Like Jason, probably you offer many forensic courses, right? And I know there are some of the university have a forensics program, right? So the first school I heard about is they have like a big forensic program is in Pennsylvania.
Marshall
As a champion, also they have right champion college, right? Champion college for women. I think they also have a big forensic program because I wrote a paper with him, one of the professors. And I think it's a Pennsylvania one, I forgot the name. Okay. So they have a huge forensics program. They have like probably thousands of students in the forensic field. Okay. Anyway, so to my understanding, if you are CE program, cybersecurity program, you may not have too many courses available, right? So you could offer 1 or 2 or 3, right? Okay. So minimum is 1 because we have the forensics. A lot of juniors need to cover, right? Okay. So we have, you could have offer the entry level. Okay, I think it's entry level, but it could be non-entry level, right? Okay. So it will cover the digital forensic fundamentals, right? Procedures, rule of evidence, all those things, right? Law and regulations and cyber crimes. And the large units could be covered is like cybercrime, right? Cybercrime, talking about all the law regulations and the crimes you may have and some case. And digital forensic, of course, if we cover the technology part, right? So the how we're going to invest, for example, create a case, right? How we're going to analyze the case, how we're going to present, right? That's kind of like, or how we're going to discover the evidence. Okay. So here are some of the work roles I think we can map to. So for example, cybercrime investigator, right? So this is based on the needs, okay? And or law enforcement forensic analysis or cyber defense forensic analysis. So to me, it's like, okay, if we teach a digital forensic class, then of course we will cover this too, right? Okay. So that's kind of entry level. Does not mean that you could, introduce very advanced level as well, right? Okay. So that's to me. So then it will prepare for example, CHA5, right? Okay. CHA5. So later on, I will talk. Yes. Yes. This is how I take a look at the work roles and yeah, work roles and the knowledge units, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a nice work role, ACWA, right? Yeah. Okay, so then we have two more a little bit more advanced. I think you must take the first one, then you will go to the next level, right? So one is the IoT and mobile forensics. Okay, mobile forensics is huge, right? Okay, so then that will cover a lot of all the techniques you need to do some investigation on the cell phone. So of course it covers the device, right? IoT, you have a device, right? You may get something from the IoT itself, sensors itself. So that's what we get. We're doing some research. That's what we call the research, because there's no existing curriculum there, so you have to find out where you find the evidence, right? So and media forensics. So the work roles, of course, forensic analysis, right? And another one is window forensics. Sometimes we call computer forensics because it's no longer just Windows, right? We could work on Linux and Mac. So when I teach the course, I do cover about Mac and a little bit on Linux. Linux is limited. Okay. Linux limited. So then we can cover the host forensics, right? And of course, media forensics and network forensics as well. So well, it depends. This is just my view. Okay, you could design a course to integrate all three of this, right? Okay, all three of this. Okay. So any question? Yes.
So if I'm integrating maybe digital forensics into like my intro course, do you have any tips on that? Maybe a topic or something that would be really important for my intro to know?
Okay. Yeah. So that's my next slide. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's great, right? I don't need to. How do I get to the next? Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, it does not allow me to do that. Click on this. Yeah. Not on the keys. Okay, yeah, so this is, we will spend a little bit more time talking about the entry level course, I think. Okay, so for this one, it's mainly to prepare you for like the certificate like CHFI or otherwise, right? You may have different certificate you want to prepare, but that's okay. So, so for this one, we will talk about the curriculum modules, right? Tools, and we will have a little bit of hands-on lab for you. Okay, and what are the hands-on labs? So usually we will develop. And we're talking about what are the resources, right? Like NDG, they have many of those labs already, and the cloud, right? They already have, I don't know how many of the curriculum they already have, but after a few months, we are going to submit computer forensic, mobile forensic to the cloud stack, and together with those evidence, files, so and the labs, right? So you could use in your class, okay? So and if you need to take a training, we have, of course, a lot of many industry training, but we because of workforce training, we could have some sponsors. We have Michael is here, and Michael is the person who is deal with the enroll you into those courses. If some of you really want to take those free resource, right? Training, okay? So you could get into this. Okay, so topic, right? That's page you want to know about this. Yes, question?
I have a question for the NDG.
Uh-huh.
How do you grade their math? How do you grade?
Great. Well, that's question, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so
I know the words, but it's hard to read it.
it's always difficult to grade the hands-on labs because there's no way you will repeat them, right? Because you will take like you just cannot do anything. Yes.
I just ask questions in an assessment afterwards.
Okay.
About the lab.
Okay.
It's difficult in that lab, so unless it's Cisco, it's difficult to do that.
Yeah. So for what we did, take a long word for me to figure that out. You know, is that first I will ask them to provide screenshots. And also they need to put timestamps, you know, on your computer, right? I need them to have timestamps, also the name. So that's way we could, and you know, find out maybe they have, yes?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Whenever I do those type of labs, I have them do screenshots. And if they run into an issue, they make sure they kind of record what the issue is. And we can probably go back and replicate it on something else.
True.
Hands-on levels at that minute, a lot of times I grade on completion rather than accuracy because, you know, but do the same thing Mike said, you know, you can put a sticky note. I have them put a sticky note in the bottom corner with their name, and then they have to show the date on their computer, and then the screenshot of that step, you know, is probably that way, you know, they're doing it.
Yeah, thank you. Yes?
You have to put the time in and do the analysis yourself and then pick things that are at appropriate levels so you don't get a ceiling effect or a floor effect. Set it up as you could set it up as a case analysis through your preferred course management system with short answer questions. And you can add what you want. You can add a short answer, you can provide if it's required to screenshot, you can do that, or mandatory text.
Yes.
I do it in a timed environment where they're present, so they can't be having a buddy or a pal look over their shoulder and help coach them. And it's usually everything that's done mid-semester, end of semester, to make sure we aggregated a lot of skills.
Yes, all good tips. Yeah. Yes.
I know. Some of the things I also usually add in a question that's not in the lab, right? You know, they have to put that in that environment to find that answer to that question. It's not part of the lab. So.
Yeah, those are all great things. Yeah.
So yeah, I also have them annotate the screenshot if I'm having to do like a lab offline, whether or not just in person. I like that idea, but class is still challenging. But I'm kind of curious, when you get to the end, how do you unscrew the top of their head, look inside their brain, and figure out if they know what they're supposed to know? Often, I used to give them a question at the end of the lab says, what did you learn from this experience?
That's a good question. It's a great challenge to this hands-on based teaching, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's all, you know, valid for all this like ASIC hacking those things. So one thing, one thing I do is I usually provide like scenario, right, question. So for example, I just give them an image, right, and ask them to answer the questions. They have to apply those skills. So they practice in the lab. So that's one.
Your students don't do this, but I've encountered they go take that experience and they go post it on Course Hero.
Yeah, true.
And then I'm like, okay, now I've got to go invest time to go create a new data set to make it different than it was the last semester. How do you address that problem?
Well, that's something, yeah, it's always challenging. Yeah, maybe you will have better, you know, suggestions, right? Jason, okay.
I think I can help with that one. So because you're doing the screenshot, it's kind of, I mean, they can use Course Hero, but they still have to show those screenshots on their own, you know, desktop. And then, you know, so, you know, they could post the answers, but they still have to actually, you know, do it. And then with digital forensics, so you're talking about pulling out their head to try to see if they learned it. Well, you know, if you do a course semester project where, you know, you integrate everything they've learned each semester, they have to apply and do that project. That's how you know if they're actually learning it. So.
And the scenario that you're describing is the one that's the same as I'm doing. You know, here's the case, here's the question, go. You have the time limit. But different, you can rotate different cases in and out, and you can change up your question set so that they're usually not that consistent. I do the screen capture with the superimposed text box for the student's name, date, lab, and of course, all that stuff for all my lab courses, from all my labs and all my courses. So that I drill it into the students that they have to meet a certain level of evidence for their reporting. And so that in order for it to be evidence, they have to attribute it to a specific analyst. And so they learn in every lab that that is their work.
Mhm.
And if it is not their work, then they've lied. And if they lie, then that's an academic, it's an honors infraction. And do they still try? I'm sure. But it does, that repetitiveness does build it in that they have to, that they're submitting a report that could be a part of a civil or criminal case is submitted in court. So every lab has it.
Yes.
Maybe you're gonna get to this, but kind of that scenario of rotating cases. You have a source for different images that you're utilizing, like digital Porpora is one of them that I've used. You can rotate scenarios without, reinventing all your data all the time.
Well, yeah, that would be great if we have multiple, right? A lot of those case for us to use. So for me, we develop by ourselves, so we are limited. So the one thing is that I always like the first lab I will be investigate very study very closely. Sometimes I will find out someone they are trying to get two persons get the same result, almost similar result. Then I will do investigation to find out, okay, these two are exactly the same, and I get the same. Like for example, file signature, whatever, right? So for those picture, for some of those things. So then I will prove that if you do, you copy someone else's stuff, we can find out. Okay. So there, if you do one more, then you will be out of the school, something like that. Yeah. Okay, great. It's a great discussion. Okay, great discussion. So back to the topic, right? So I know we have like 40 minutes, right? So we have enough time. So I think for curriculum topics, I would like to introduce is like cybercrimes, right? So law and regulations, digital forensic investigation procedures, rule of evidence, right? So those are the basic, must include. To me, it must include in the first, forensic class, right? Okay. So because the chain of custody is the most important thing for forensic investigation. So then it always good for cybersecurity people, right, to have a hands-on. So you still need to introduce like file system forensics like Windows OS, Windows registry, right? Network traffic a little bit about that, and data coverage, steganographic, and deleted files as a must, right? So those are very basic things. Yeah, very basic things. So the tools. For me, I only use SDK and the SafeRide and barely use in case, but because SDK and in case they're almost like similar, very similar, right? Okay, today. So if you don't, because those are commercial tools, right? You need to pay. But you could use for like Wireshark or Autopsy. Autopsy is a simple version, okay, very simple version of the tools. Like FTK. So and then like FTK imager is a free, okay, is a free. So you could create all those labs, right? So like create the image, create a case, and then you will do all those like file system registry, network analysis, right? So I would like to share one thing I would like to share to you is the like what resource available on NDG, okay? So because most of you guys have not used NDG, right? So these are the built-in labs from NDG. So for example, they have the creating forensic image, right? Acquisition, file system, data common, recycle bin, those are always, right? Application, emails, right? Picture, and web browser, right? Internet, that's IE, Firefox, right? Today we are using the, of course, Edge, right? And normally, if I will not cover this because if I teach the other course, right? Okay. And then they have like chain of custody. That's the only one for available for the first few topics. Okay, yes, question?
NDG course is this?
This is common with the NDG. So for us, we bought NDG, right? So we build NDG at PW, and then every year we pay some license fee. So this is a built-in. So if we have this, then we use for free for our students.
Yes, we have NDG too, but there are different courses that you can install that you can have. I wonder which particular course is this?
This one is NDG sample forensic 2, version 2.
Okay, forensics too.
Forensic version 2, yeah. So they also have a security pass. So those are, if you have NDG, then you can use for free. You don't need anybody to develop for you. They have very like 50 pages of instructions. Okay. Any question? Okay, good. So I can go to the next. So resource, we already talked about curriculum, the clock side, right? And CWCT training, we have one course is called CWCT 255, Digital Forensic Investigation. So we offer for free to law enforcement, veterans, military, transition military, and us adult learners. We also offer to our traditional students if they would like, right? But we always have a few spots available. So if some instructors want to get into this field, right, then you can go, maybe let us know, right? Then we could enroll into those courses. It's, I think it's pretty limited, right, for this course, because this course is really popular. Okay. Okay, so if you want to take a look at the what looks like for those labs, right? I can maybe like for example, data coven, right? Okay, so data coven and their lab instructions very lengthy and details. So these are all very lengthy and details created by NDG. I don't know who is their sponsor. Okay, maybe someone put it here, right? So so if a student take this, then they probably don't have any complaint, right? Because it's very detailed. Okay, so honest system failure, right? Okay, so I know. So to training, right? We already talking about the trainings here. Okay, stamps, right? And the certification, CHA5 or some others. And now we probably time for us to do a little bit of yes. Big. Okay, so I needed to, because after this I need to go back to the environment. So we will have like about 15 minutes to work on a hands-on, right? Mini hands-on. Okay, just want to have a taste to use the occupancy. Okay, so we need everybody to get back into the NDG environment, and then we will create the case, and then navigate the case. Take a look what it looks like. So I think in the instruction on the second page, bottom of the second page, they have instructions step by step. Okay, so well, since and we also have a created like competency statement, right? If you are going to teach that course, then this could be one of the statements you could use. You could of course always make a change, right? So we are going to submit it to maybe to a CPF, right? So then they have a repository. Okay. So let's go back to the hands-on part. Okay. I needed to. So everybody here, right, is in the NDG, correct? Okay. So if you want to follow, then follow. Okay. So if you decide you want to just watch that, so that's okay too. Okay. So you find this autopsy 4.2, right? Okay. So I kind of like only run this autopsy, and then you will see there's like a new case is the first one, right? Okay. If you already had a recent case, then you can open that. But anyway, for us, this is just the first case we have, right? So everybody follow this? Have this? Okay, great. Just create a new case. Yeah. Okay. And once you click on that case, then you will come to this window, right? Okay. So I think this one is a must. You put just, for example, test, right? Okay, test. So name doesn't matter, okay? To us, right? Okay. So just click on next. And case number, this is very similar to FTK 1.8, okay? So FTK 1. So then the rest, you don't need to put anything. It's optional. Just go to finish. So this is just to create a case, create configuration files, and then create the database to store the evidence. Okay, then you can do like search, right? And then you can do a lot of processing. Okay, so this could take, if you're working on that, it could take like less than 1 minute, right? Okay, so are you guys following? Okay, good, right? Okay, great. So then just click on the next. It's default, okay? We could have, and now it's time for us to add the evidence item, right? Okay. So by the way, so if you are working on case, right? I always tell my students, you are never going to the original evidence, right? So you have the original evidence, and then you have the forensic copy, and then you have the working copy, right? So make copy of the original evidence, always keep in a secure area, right? And of course, forensic copy needs to be secured because you don't want other people to access, right? And then when analysis, then you will work on the work copy, okay? So, and we got this disk image here, right? Okay, and next, and then now it's time for us to add the first image file. So I think in your instruction tells you to where to find it, right? So it should be at your desktop, right? Demo material lecture 2. So if you are here, then you don't click on any of this, okay? So now we need to change something because those 2 files are small files. So we would like you to choose like all files. Once you have these all files here, then you will have the like image 1, image 2. So those something from DCWF workshop. I forgot the name, I think. Jason, do you remember? So like there's it's called like workshop things. They have a challenge. It's like back in 2004, 2005, DCWF, right? Yeah. Yeah, yes. Okay. So that's, I think they're still there, right? It's just that we got these things from them. So anyway, they can download for free. So I don't make any money for that, right? So I already gave them credit. So anyway, this image 1, for this tool, you can only add 1 image at a time. But FTK, you can add multiple, okay? So I have to click on one of that and then just go to next. If you're following, just click on next, and then it will take a little bit of time to process. And then you have to click on finish. Now you can add another data source just from this button, right? Okay, add data source. That's okay. I know you're working, right? And then click on next. And do the same thing, right? Disk image, go to next. Go to, then we have to go back, right? Browser, and now we will select image 2, okay? And next. So then finish. And we create a case, right? Okay, that's great. So this is these images are very small, but in reality, right, we could have like multiple gigabytes, right, for teaching. For real case, that's, I don't know how big, right? I know Jason has lots of real case, right? So could be many terabytes, right? So okay, so I think it's a finish processing, and then you could go to the like maybe file types, right? So you could go by extension or by different types. Okay, so from here we could find a lot of the evidence files. For example, we could have file type, right? Okay, image files, right? So for picture files, they're here. Those are all automatically recover picture files. They are either embedded in some other files as kind of like, I don't know, I think it could be say steganographic, but it could be just, put it into the, hide it into another file, okay, hide it in another file. So this tool is automatically did that for all of for us. But when I teach, I will ask them to do it manually, because it's just like teaching them how to do the data covering, right? Okay. So I will use like, for example, SDK 1.8. I don't ask them to do auto data covering. So then they have to find out the file signatures, right? Like if it's JPEG files, JFI, right? File signature. If it's like BMP files, then because one of them is BMP, right? There's a 424D. So those, you just find out them, and then you just get the do a data covering, and then use the manual way, right? Then you will get the files. Okay, so that's kind of a lot of fun. Okay, a lot of fun. That's what I use for our Gene Cyber camps. Okay, so I mean, this is just like a very easy way, right? Whether it's a small case and easy way to get people to, students to know the process and create case, do some analysis, right, and get familiar with this tool. So I think this tool is still, to my point of view, is still pretty simple, right? You don't have too much functions.
I'd have to add, if any of you have a budget, Magnet Forensics is what I use, and they give you 30 licenses for $3,000, and they have a complete academic manual that gives you all the data and all the student manual that you need as well.
What was that again? Magnet Forensics?
Magnet Forensics, yeah. Magnet Forensics, Mike talked about Celebrite.
Yeah.
Celebrite and Magnet are the two gold standards in the industry. Some use Celebrite, some use Magnet. Mike use Celebrite. I teach Magnet. I know I teach Celebrite, but they don't provide that piece. But you can get 30 licenses for Celebrite for $3,000. Or actually, theirs is $5,000.
$5,000.
Yeah, it's $5,000. Magnet is only $3,000. Magnet works really well with academics, and their manual is pretty phenomenal. So if you have the budget, but and myself, I teach all this stuff in other digital forensic classes, but teaching Magnet too, students can, by being a certified academic, the students take the class, and then they can get their Magnet certified forensic examiner certification for free because they take that class. So, Celebrate doesn't do that, where Magnet is heavy on academics. So as long as they take my class, they can get registered, they can actually get their certification for free, where in order to do that, they'd have to take a $4,000 Magnet course and then take it where, they're in school. So I'm just I'm a Magnet guy, but, Magnet's another tool out there for those of you that have budgets as well. But if you don't have that budget, then this is exactly, these tools are great to work with. So.
Follow on to do a program with them or something that's set up with them.
Yeah, I took their, they have a program where you pay $6,000 and you take all their courses in 1 year. So I took all those courses and then I started teaching. But I've had them as an academic partner for 4 years, now. Part of what I do is I'm you can take their course and get certified, and then you teach students. So students seem to like that because then they can get that certification and pay extra.
That's a good deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And only $3,000 is really, it's really affordable to get 30 licenses, for $3,000.
So the charge.
Where those are like $6,000 a piece for industry.
That 3K a year?
Yeah, it's everything's per year. But like I said, to buy one Magnet license, it's over $5,000.
Yeah, and I use SDK for the Windows forensic class. So I just recently learned you don't really need to renew every year. Say, for example, for $2,500 to give you 30 license, and if you don't want the new features, you can just use for like 2 years, 3 years. So, I mean, that's kind of like the even smaller budget, right? But you have to get yourself certified. So that's why myself, I have to get myself certified, then they can, receive that discount and then allow you to use the material to teach.
And if you do it right, like they do a license in January, December, so, I teach one class in the fall and spring, so I get that whole year's worth versus just teaching it once a semester.
So, how do you recover the license when a student's done the course?
You don't, but you can manage, as the admin, you can manage, the license. I mean, they'll expire at the end of the year. Anyway, most students who take mine, are taking both semesters, but it's nice because it's cloud based, so you just give them a key and they can download Magnet. We're like Celebrate, it's an actual dongle network license, so it's hard to use with online students. Where Magnet can be used for online.
We use network license. So then, because we need to run this NDG, right? Okay. So there's always a way to do that. So if you have those technical questions, you can always shoot me an email, shoot Jason email, right? So we can help you to like how to set up those things. For network license, so students can access remotely at home, right? They just need a VPN or NDG, then you just use internet access, okay? Like NDG, everybody can access, okay? So, okay, so that's a great discussion. I just need to go back to the your next course, right? Next course will be a little bit quicker, okay? Then for the first one. So the next one is for IoT and mobile forensic, because this one is very, very important topic, right? So this is also we offer to our workforce training and our students as one of the course, and also to law enforcement, because we have DOJ grants to train the law enforcement. So this will be the topics I would like to suggest, right? Like mobile forensic tools, right? Always important to talk about what are the tools, right? They have not only just Celebrite, but there are some other ones like Oxygen, right? So of course, the educationalized tools they have limited, right? They are limited, okay? Limited. So but they have almost also lot of, I cannot say it's 100, but it's good enough for to train the student. And then SQL database programming, you must teach SQL database because almost all the apps they are using SQL. And even though the Celebrate can pass most popular those apps, but like IoT apps they cannot pass, right? So they still be able to pass into SQL, but they just cannot pass into the other the for text, right? Okay. And if you have a new version of the apps, right, they will not be able to catch up. So that's why we really needed to do that. And of course, always they have system files, like PDS files, those are all configuration files, and all the like calls, right, phone calls, pictures sending each other, right, all those things, chats, right, and then we have web, right, you do search, right, and you may talk to Zero. I don't know if the cell phone can talk to that, maybe right? You can do, right? Okay, I have never done that. And of course, Android. If you teach iOS, then Android it would be much easier, right? I mean, the similar, right? They can use similar techniques. Okay. So IoT that could be a little bit of challenge. IoT, well, for the app part, we can just talk about SQL database things, right? To cover. And but if you're on the device, that's a different story. So then we have to do manually to use the Python to get the information out. Not too much of the information, right? So we sometimes just possible to use main and some other very basic system information. Okay? Not too much of like pictures, right? If you have a camera, you may have some. And then, of course, network forensics. So tools, Celebrite, right? We talk about so Celebrite, $5,000 a year, and then for 30 license, you could support them locally or remotely, right? So if we have network license or through this IDG, okay? So they needed to Celebrite UFED, which for extraction and physical analyzer to do the analysis. Those are need license. For what we will share is we already create all those for the community, right? then it will come up with a reader. So the reader does not need to have a license. You can still teach most of the stuff. You just cannot teach the acquisition. The rest should still be okay. So, I mean, you don't need the license, right? Okay. So probably, I don't know if we may need to talk to the celebrate or.
So Mike, do you teach acquisition in your class, like with actual classes?
Yes, I teach.
Okay.
Yeah, we only have like four machines, 4 devices. So they ask them to do, 10 turns, because each one we could just ask them, we don't ask them to finish. We just do a logic instruction, so it's very quick, right? Physically, there's never.
Yeah, I know, like getting Android devices is so cheap.
Oh, we have quite many of those things, and a lot of IoT devices as well. So yeah.
Yeah, students really love that
Yeah.
abstraction.
Yeah, but there's one issue. Those students must be US citizens or permanent resident. Otherwise, you will break the things. So that's why, well, I just, in my class, sometimes I want, if we see there's international students, I will not teach that component. I will just put like a video. Because we cannot make one student to practice, another student cannot practice, right? That's kind of against the paper, right?
Which part has to be?
No, UFED, physical analyzer, those licenses, you cannot. But it's ready reader, because you don't need a license, you don't need to apply the license agreement, right? So that's the only thing. Yeah, this is the first year. Last year we did this, they don't have that language, but this year, from last year, actually from 2023, they have this specific language. We tried like almost like 1 year, and still we didn't win. So we have to follow that rule. So but FDK and other tools, they don't have that language. It is all about export control. Question?
No, we're just, I didn't realize that was Celebrite, but with magnets can maybe they stimulate, so.
Oh, maybe
It's
that's
surprising
international, right?
Celebrate's an international company too, so it's surprising.
Yeah, my actual Celebrate instructor was Canadian, so I'm like,
Why a permanent resident is okay? So
Michigan, he's from Canada.
anyway, reader is fine. Reader is totally fine. So of course, lots of the labs we can develop, right? So I can, here is just a version, right? So I can share some of the labs we developed, maybe using this syllabus, right? Okay. Sample labs, right? Syllabus 458. So that course is like, it's not only just for, mobile. Well, I didn't put the lab name, right? Okay, so maybe I just needed to. Some of the, okay, like, so for example, we have this our system artifacts, right? And call history, database address, right? Something, address book things, web. So those are all the hands-on part. I can show you one of our labs we developed, and I think this will be shared to the community soon. So we just have those tools, right? We're much shorter than the than the ANDG lab, like 50 pages. This one's like maybe 5 pages. Okay, so just go through each of the evidence that you need, practice you need to go through, right? Like address book, like this call history, like this one's SMS messages, right? And this one's like this one is one of the scenario. I kind of like take a travel to like 2021 pandemic. I go to South Maine for one of the workshop, right? I mean, probably you guys organize, right? Okay. So then I go to the airport and then go to hotels, go to the gyms, and I take some pictures and send it back to the cell phone because I cannot use my own cell phone, right? To as the evidence phone. So then all those information, they just use those information, they need to figure out what is my kind of like, right? The travel timelines. Okay. So they may need to use the registry information, they may not. They could just use some of the configuration file to find out I go to which airport, right? How they know that I take the airport, right? Which airport? Because they will just go to valleys, right? What are the valleys access? For example, I'm from Chicago, right? So my airport is O'Hare. So then there was O'Hare free, right? During which day, timestamps. And then go when I arrive at the Maine, right? Southern Maine, right? Portland, right? So then I think arriving there, I didn't use the satellite, Wi-Fi, but I go to the hotel using Wi-Fi alone, right? And then I take pictures. When I take pictures, then they have my positions, location information. And then the location information will tell me which hotel, which street, they can find out which street, everything. Okay. So then when I come back, the day I arrive, right, come back, then I go to the airport and go to the, of course, use the Wi-Fi, right? Then they will record their, main, Portland's airport, I forgot the name, but anyway, they can use that information. And then, of course, when I come back, they will know my timeline, right? Go to which hotel, right? Which location. So this is the information I asked them. So then they have to process those information. I even asked them to use like my registry, Windows registry information to confirm. So that's kind of the labs I developed for one of these labs. We have about like 10 or more such lab for this one single course. And we are trying to share to the community. Probably need some time because we need to clean a lot of things. So I think we, for the resource, right? We have the LT mobile forensic course for CWCD workforce training, and we always have a few. Oh, we may not have, right? Yeah, because we don't know it's optional course. Yeah, it's optional course. So it depends, right? Depends. We may have that, we may not have that, but we'll see. Okay. So it could, if we run that course, then we will have open slot free for our instructors. So I think one thing I would like to want all of us to do is to maybe just take a look at the Celebrate, right? Okay. So can you go back to your NDG? So we have still 1 hour, right?
If we're gonna take a break at 2:30 for 10 minutes.
Oh, okay, that's great. So yeah, so then we will have enough time. I know it's like already more than 1 hour, right? It's everybody get tired. So if you have Celebrate run, right, then just click on this Celebrate because I think all those labs are open. The Celebrate case is open. So you will, if you're following, okay, then we have the summary page. You can find a lot of information about the device itself, okay? And sometimes you will find out the owner, who is the owner, but sometimes you cannot find, okay? So then we have to go to the evidence itself, right? Okay, so here are the past information, okay? Celebrate pass all this information into this category. So this is the analyzed data, right? Okay. So I think, media, your pictures, the video, those are good things. But one thing I would like to share is about this the message chats, okay? I think chats is the most important thing. I used Celebrate like maybe 5 years ago. It looks like they don't organize those communications into chats very well. So then I kind of like asked my students to create a project to try to write the Python to group them into chats, but that's very difficult. And so Celebrate, they can do this very well. So if you click on one of those chats, then you will be able to see, for example, if they have more messages, right? I know it's a little bit difficult to read, right? It's a little bit difficult to read. right? Okay, so if you are practicing, then you can access, okay? But if you're not practicing, this is a little bit difficult read, but I just want to, before the break, right? So then this is a group who you are talking with, right? And this would be the, you know, messages. This would be the evidence files. And this helps us a lot because sometimes if you cannot find, you don't know which database they're talking about, then we can just come here to find out the database files, and then we will know, right? Okay, you know where to find the original evidence files. Okay, so I know, and I think pictures sometimes if you have internet connection, then it may be able to take you to real, you know, even the you know, they may even take you to the like easy for, you know, they have the location information, right? Then it should have the maps for you. But unfortunately for our ADG, we kind of like for each virtual machines itself is not internet accessible because it's for security reason, right? Okay, so that means they cannot find the map for you. Okay, so but you know, if you are working on your own machine, then you can. So like these pictures, right? Okay, so they have the latitude, the altitude thing, but the map will not be shown. And I suppose it should be shown if you have internet access. So for the most of the, you know, like if you are just entry level LT or mobile forensic course, I think this is good enough to just use this is 1 day training. That is the 1 day training we provide to the law enforcement detectives, right? You just need to learn how to use the Celebrate and then you know what they can do. You don't need to know too much deeper. But we do have law enforcement people. They are the technical supporter, right? Just like Jason. Jason is a law enforcement, right? So they want to know more about, you know, those IoTs. For example, you know, synchronized database, right? And how to find the you know IoT apps, you know, evidence. Okay, so then we will have like another 2 day training, 2 to 3 days training for them. Okay, so I think that's a lot. We should have break, and hopefully we will have people come back, right?
Be back at 2:37.
2:37.
No, 1:37, whatever.
2:37.
Well, I was asking, no.
So for the new person, you know, for the new person just join this session, right? So we have okay. I think it's recorded, right?
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of handout for you, so you can have the hands-on access, right? So you can do a little bit of hands-on to the lab environment. So I don't know if you can get the, because we only have 30 machines available. So maybe you can get someone's if they leave for you, right? So you can get that. Yeah, someone want to access? Okay, so and for you to access, you need to go to this watch.
Your friends or make a new friend and you share. And if you guys want to just look over your shoulder, kind of move up and watch what the people who are online.
Okay, so everybody ready, right? Okay, so for those newcomers, okay, so we have we would like you to get into the NDG environment hosted at the PNW. So ndgpnw.edu. So I think the instructions is on you on the handout. Okay, so when you enter, right? So you should put your username and password is also on your handout. So make sure it's like if you're using one, then guess this also the password is also like one, right? Okay. So 2, 3, 4, 5. So the last, okay. And then you can go inside. Okay. Once you're inside, I have a different view. Then you guys, you probably just have one machine for you, right? But for me, I can access all of that. So I will go to my first class. Okay. You can just click on the end lab. Okay. You just click on this end lab, and I think the machine is already powered on for you already, and is already logged in. So so then just click on this client one, right? Or Windows 10 training machines. So for me, I mean, you probably don't need this information. So you don't need that information. So just click, okay? So this is already here. Get into the virtual environment, right? NDG environment, and you will see this Windows 10 virtual machine for this IoT forensic training we used for our law enforcement training just last month. Okay. So, and you should have this FTK running, right? And you should have this Celebrate running. Okay, if you are new here, then you can just click on each one of that and take a look, okay? So we can spend a couple more minutes there, right? So
I think I'm like in your same one.
okay. So you are in the same one because yeah, this one is I just go inside. I have a different one.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, this is mine. So yeah, I don't want to interfere with you guys because I just want to have the same environment as you, right? Because otherwise, you know, I don't have these things. Okay, so okay, this is our this is for the Celebrate, okay? Because I will not repeat the autopsy because that one is pretty straightforward, and you guys can follow that you know, instruction sheets to find, you know, create those very in a few minutes. Okay, so this is the Celebrate, right? So I would like to continue a little bit talking about these things. Okay, so if you open it, go to the analyze data section, right? So this is the already process for you. So that's the law enforcement really love this because they don't need to look at where it is, right? So they only find, okay, this is a presentation report, just like a report, right? Okay. So you have what the call, right? Who called you and who made the calls, right? Who has the you know, send the pictures, right? You know, who are.
One question, is it possible to walk up to like probably recording everything that you call it at the same time, so I can give a favorite time?
Okay, so I may need to slow down, right?
Yeah, so I'm like you're lost.
Okay, so sorry about that because I already kind of like go through this one time. Okay, so I will. So you should be able to open this, right? Do you have this? Okay, so you have this analyze data section. If not, then you just click on this section, right? And you also have the file system, okay? So the analyze data section, this one, if you click on it, it will bring you to this window, right? And you may not have this window, okay? So I can, maybe I should close those things. You should have this summary, right? So this summary page, we're talking all about the, you know, the device information. Who is the owner, right? Something like that. But sometimes you will not be able to find the owner information, and then you have to figure out by yourself. Okay. So and this is one of the lab, right? We use for you know for the students, okay, to figure out, okay, to figure out. So you know, lots of information you can find from this one. This is a very important thing for find out the values, right? And network and MAC address sometimes. Yeah, oh, you know, those numbers, okay? So if you want to find out the calls, right? So this, I mean, today we'll just give an introduction. Oh, there's no way I will be able to teach all the things, okay? So so this is like, for example, if you want to find the calls, so that's about the phone calls, right? If you click on that, expand that, it should have like different calls, right? This is a native call. You may have the voice, right? So if you want to find the voice, you can click on the voice. So they should be like, maybe it should be down RMF file. I forgot I think there's specific files. So, and you could, there's no voice, maybe it cannot play, right? Okay, but anyway, you can actually, oh, sorry, it's too much, right? So you can actually click on this one to listen if you are on your own machine. Okay, so they have a context about the address book. Okay, address book. So who are the people, right? The information like phone numbers, right? That's L, some other IDs. Okay, WhatsApp ID, and the context can be grouped into different, right? Discord, Facebook, right? Facebook Messenger. So there's way too many different applications, right? Things, okay? So, and location information, right? So you can find those things, and media, you can find audio, video, multimedia, or pictures, right? And messengers, you could have like chats, right? And even for the chats, you could have different types of chat app, okay? For example, Discord, right? Facebook, Instagram, okay? Like this Snapchat, right? WhatsApp, okay? Many of those, okay? There are many, many more because we just don't have enough time to update. And once we make an update, then instruction needs to be redone. So it's very difficult, okay? Time consuming. So update itself, I mean, the instruction itself is not difficult, but the instructions. Okay, like social media, right? So you will find, well, ironically, is like Discord, all those things should be social media, right? I just don't know why social media here is just put this, Facebook here. So, I mean, this could be their own, or they will just leave here, okay? Maybe next time they will get rid of that. Okay, so if you really want to find out where the evidence are, right? Or you want to find out the data files itself, right? So we have a configuration file, database. I click on database. So these are all the database files, okay? These are all the database files. You know, they have like 938 database. They're all synchronized database. Okay, we don't have time to go into, okay? And configuration file are the one for systems, okay? For system like plist files, okay? Plist files. So it will take, because we have how many? 169,000, right? As a lots of evidence there, configurations. So for example, if they want to find the values, right? They want to find out the access to, what kind of like application they use for words or data, right? They can, or use what type of service providers. They all need to have, they will be recorded, okay? So, well, for FTK, I think Celebrite, it's good, you can still read, but it's not as good as FTK to present for this plist files, because the plist files in FTK, they are presented as the HTML format, okay? Everything is HTML, so it will be much better to read, okay? But the good part for this one is that they will tell you where you can find the evidence, right? I think so is the FTK, so. Okay, so we only, here we just want to introduce, right? We don't want you, to practice too much. So this is just what it looks like, okay? Looks like. And if you want to find out the file structure, right? Because for law enforcement, sometimes they in the court, they may ask you, I know this is a present, but I want to see where you exactly find the evidence located, right? And you have to, why this is like something like this, right? So then, because different versions, they could be put into different locations even, okay? So then they will observe the inconsistency, you have to explain. So then you have to go to the real, the real files, okay? And then you will tell them, okay, if I go to you, we can go to this file system, right? This is what it looks like on the cell phone, right? As a file structure. And then you will be able to find all these like systems, right? Okay, library things, okay, find all this, you know, the files, okay? I just don't have enough, this is MDI, whatever, right? And, okay, it's too many, okay? It's just too many. So I just want to tell you that if you want to find those information for example, if we share our lectures, right, we will tell you where to find those information, and then you can follow this, go into this file system to find the original location, okay? So it's always difficult to like remember everything for these things. We have to follow the instructions sometimes, okay? Okay, so that's pretty much about the introduction to the tool, just like, right, what tool looks like, what they can do for you. Yes.
So one question about the celebrate reader, so in the we are only looking at the report that how to
Correct.
create it.
Correct. And it's a free of license, right? Yeah. So they have very limited things. Yeah. But for teaching, I think it's almost enough. Okay.
Yeah, but they're supposed to know like how to acquire the
True.
image from.
So that's then you need a license, right? As I talking about in our previous session, then you need to get like UFED, right? You need to extract, and then you use a physical analyzer to process it, and then create a report, and then the report can be viewed by, of course, city-wide reader, right? And or FTK, but FTK does not do a very good job. Okay, so that's why it's quick on this. Yeah. So yeah, but if you just talk about the evidence, then this is enough. If you don't have license, right, because they need $5,000, and then you need to get yourself certified, take those trainings, one time, right? And it's $3,500, $600, get a certification, and then every year you need to renew, right? Okay, so, but then you just certify reader is enough. Okay, so what you can do is do a recording, right? We can, when we teach this, law enforcement, especially for our students, because I talked about we have an export control. Only US citizen or permanent resident can access this tool. So, but in our class, we may have one person who cannot ask that question, right? And what they ask us to provide the information about the citizenship. This is a 100% against the paper, right? There's no way we can do that. So then we fight 1 year and we didn't, and we still lose. So then we have to follow their this is the indicated from the government, right? Government say you must do this thing.
You're talking about the reader one?
No, talking about the UFED and the licensing one. So then you can show video, right? I mean, show video to how to use extraction. Extraction process is actually pretty straightforward. Okay? It may take a few minutes or a few hours or a few days, depends on the size, right? Logic extraction is pretty quick. Full system recovery is a little bit slow in many hours, right? And real full, physical, that's very dangerous because you need to do like the routine for Android, right? iPhone is you need to do jailbreak, right? Jailbreak is a little bit easy to do for the old versions. The new versions, I don't know. You must use I think I don't know for sure. Yeah, 14. I think before the jailbreak is all success, and they didn't damage the phone system. But routing could get your cell phone, everything's corrupted, right? So then, but of course that's not acceptable for law enforcement. So they don't do that. So they just do extraction. So anyway, yes.
I use FTK NetApp environment, and then I'm also not using MKs. I tried getting Celebrate, okay? At that time, they said they didn't have a academic program. So can you kind of elaborate how you acquire the license to do the work lab environment, what the school, what Celebrate?
Yeah, so for certified reader, you don't need to use a license, right? If you really want to get a license, for UFED and right? Extraction and analysis. Then you need to build an academic partnership with the celebrant, right? So this process depends on your school. At Purdue, it's very lengthy. We probably need to go through like half a year because we have to go through a lot of things like ADA, for example, right? Exposure control. Because ADA, you have to say, okay, if you have like students have special needs, what do you do? Even though 99% we don't need to do anything, right? But if there's something happen, do you have, you need to commit, right? So for example, if we do have needs, then we'll have ADA offers to help. But for the tool itself, you will take a look, right? It's sometimes really difficult, right? There's no tool available, so to 100% will comply with ADA, right? So then you need to provide a reasonable solution. For example, we could hire a student to help them, right? Right? So that's kind of like things you have to provide, and the university needs to commit for that. Yes. So for ADA, for the export control, you must follow that. No, you must make sure that no non-US person can access. That's nobody, even though this is all education, right? But that's the rule, right? That's the law. They cannot violate. Okay. So, but that's also your export control will have a lot of things for that. That process could take a few months at Purdue. Some schools, they may be pretty quick. Some schools, they may not even do it. But Purdue is a very lengthy process because it's huge. You don't want to lose bankrupt, right? Because of one person or one class, right? So, yeah, so once you have that, then you need to take a training and get certified. Then you can use. So that's the process to get things done, right? And it has like dongles, or you can use a network license, right? So to set up that support 30, and I think for your class is enough. Okay, so $5,000 every year. Okay, FTK is a different story. So next time we will talk about FTK. Yeah. Okay, great question. Any discussion? Okay, that's good. And hope this will help, right? Okay. So now we will go to the last course we thought is a more advanced topic. Okay, it's called the Windows forensics or computer forensics. So this one, I think, many of the topic actually has been covered by the, our first class HFI, right? So those, they have like very simple version. I call it a simple version, or I call it like entry level things. So then in this class, we will also, you need to, of course, always introduce the tools, right? And then practice the tools, like create a case, navigate, right? Okay. So that's what we do. And then file system, we have FAT, ADFS, and GPT, right? So for GPT things, we're using those like for VHD, right? Virtual hard disk, right? To practice and then to examine things. Okay. And then we will have the Windows registry always, right? A party decryption a little bit, okay? Because the tools is no longer working for most of the environment, okay? Today's environment. Okay. So, and the Windows OS forensics offers, right? Internet, web browser, cloud forensics, and the network forensics. So those are all the topics I use. But in my class, I also teach Mac forensics and internet forensics. So even though not going into detail, too much detail, right? Okay, Mac a little bit more detail, but internet is very introductory levels. So the tools I use for this class is FTK, because the autopsy is too, very simple, right? It's good for free, but this FTK is commercial. So talking about FTK, right? So you do need to have an academic, agreement, right? It may take like 1 month or 2 to get things done, but it does not have any exposure control. So anybody can use, right? Non-US person can use. Okay. So then you also may need to get yourself certified. So I have been certified, every 2 years you have to take their exam. So the exam is, I think it's a closed book, okay? And then about 2 hours or 4 hours, I think, 2 to 4 hours, I forgot. So they will have some conceptual questions, but they have more majority is the practical. They give you an image file, you have to answer those questions using the techniques. Okay. So those are the every 2 years, but recently I can have to give up because I have too many certification that there's no way I can keep up with all those. So I just work on the CISP now. So I already have the CISP. And hands-on apps, right? These are all the hands-on apps we could create, right? So there's a lot of the steps, a lot of very technical, okay? So for the advanced ones, we even have the like face recognition, right? So that one you have to set up a lot of things because you have to have it's AI, right? We're using AI to find out the picture, right? If you want to find this person picture, then you have to train it, and then you have to have the search, right? The data. So then you have the AI, and you set up the configuration things. They're using Python, I believe, and you have to change the configuration files, and then put the all those files in the right folders, and then students will need to go back into the system to change some of the servers, okay, to run that specific process. Then you can start to run. So and that's usually is like maybe the first 2 weeks I will ask my students to do that. With NDG, it's great because everything will be same. But if it's not, if they're using their own machine, oh my God, there are lots of questions. Because everybody's different. They say, okay, I tell, we have like a team to support, but still sometimes cannot, because they go home and they find out never work. What do you do? Right? So, but in NDG, everything is the same, same thing. So then they just follow. So that's consistency, right? Okay. So anyway, I can share some of my, the labs we have created. So we have created, I think maybe more than 10 labs. So this is in my class, I put it, these ones for our training. Training is a simple version, okay? So in our undergraduate class, it's a little bit more, much lengthy. So for example, this would be the, where is lab 2? Maybe I need to minimize this, right? So as you can see, right, lab 1 is the case setup, right? So this is like the first lab they are going to do, okay? Just using FTK, they know how to build the case, right? So we provide some of the, of course, pictures, right? Screenshots, and then how to navigate and add evidence, right? So to add the image files, whatever, and then do some other like, different column settings, right? And then do a live search, index search, right? Those are the basics. So today's forensics is more about search. And before we can almost remember where to find evidence. Today there's no way you can do that. There's too much evidence. Okay, so maybe in the future they need to have AI integrate. Okay, so now they are doing the search. So the search is so important, and also filter is also becomes more and more important. When I, 15 years ago, when I do those things, the filter is almost I never touch because just a little bit, right? But today you must do filter. You have to narrow down the search space. Otherwise, even you do search, you have get like millions or thousands of hits. What do you do? That means nothing, right? Okay. So search and then of course those are the basic like bookmark, right? And the data common things, filtering, right? This is just tell you how many times. Well, this is just one time, one filtering. You could have multiple filtering, okay? A lot of filtering to work together. So this is our first lab for our training for those people who never had much of IT background. Well, they already taken the first forensic course, so they must have some, okay? So anyway, they are not working in this industry like law enforcement people, right? Or firefighters, okay? Then, for example, we have something for operating systems, right? This is also the lab, okay? For example, we could, this first one is always to go to the case, right? So we will have like link files and jump files. Those are all about the, right? If you have a, for example, printer, right? Then you may have link files, and if you are sending some files out, you may have link files, right? So the printers, yeah. So printers, right? And recycle bin is always fun to take a look, okay? So, and we have, what is this? Offers, right? Okay, so this is a simplified, it's a simplified version of my undergrad course, okay? This is just for the training because we don't have enough time to finish all the labs, okay? So that's kind of like OS, and we could have file system, right? File system, that's a pain, okay? That's a pain. So this is the one probably get the most of complaint from the students who training participants because we go too deep, right? Into the, I thought it's like, okay, in the middle, but for those people, the first time could be very tough, right? So like, you know, we will go to the very details like about the NTFS file system, what are all those important files, right? Okay, to find out what looks like, right? Go to the hex, right? And what they are meaning, right? So we will also go through the GPT file systems, right? So to find out all the, for example, warrants they have, right? The size, something like that. Okay. So, well, I think this is pretty detailed, right? So you must use those tools like FTP image, okay, to go through all those things, look at the hex, and then you have to understand how the hex should be interpreted, right? Okay. And there's nothing you have to like very 100% concentrate. Sometimes very difficult. Okay. So for our undergrad, we could have more, more complex or challenging version. Okay. I just want to take a look for people on the registry, right? This is also simplified, so we will just go through different registry files, right? And what it looks like, find out the important keys, right? Some important keys, like type of URLs, right? For example, password, username, thing, information. This would be, I think this is related to the executables, right? Okay, so what the files has been launched, okay, run. Send the user account, right? Software, this include almost everything, right? Okay, system is more about your device, like USB, right? Okay, USB storage, okay. So it will link to track to each individual device. So this is what we teach or develop for our forensics training, and undergraduate education has more complex, more lab activities. Okay, so those are all the things we created. So the resource, I hope that we are going to upload this computer forensic ones to Clark site in the next 2 months, right? Okay. IoT side, that mobile forensic may need to take a little bit longer. Okay. And we do have this, if you want to get training, right? Lots of training resource available. Most of them, they need to take, charge money, right? $5,000 a training, okay? For access data or external, right? $5,000 for 5 days, $4,000 for 3 days sometimes, okay? So, but I think for our CWCT workforce training program, we run for free for veterans, right? First responders, and for those adult members. So we always have some spots available for this course, right? Because this is, I think, is almost the last course for that digital forensic class. Okay. So usually we're like the 20s, so we could go to like 30 or 40, right? Because it's a virtual lab. So then if you are interested, you could let us know, and then Michael is the one who can help you to get into, right? But we need to make sure you are committed, because there's lots of hands-on stuff, okay? Right? Okay. So I think we have a little bit of time for us to do a hands-on, and then we will have more like maybe discussions, right? Questions, okay? So hands-on, I think you guys can go back to the NDG environment, right? So just click on this FTK. I know it's a long day, right? So you can just watch, that's okay. So well, this, I think everybody has this case running, right? So this is pretty just like pictures, okay? Because I want to make it like very small, right? And because just demonstrate tools. So if you want to look at the files where they are, usually is go to the, this is FAT32, right? Anyway, so as you can see, it's just picture files. So we have about a few hundreds of picture files, and you may not be able to see this anyway. So well, because of Zoom, it's not Zoom information issue, right? I think it's the, what is the name? I forgot. Resolution, right? Resolution, we have to change, increase the resolution, then you will be able to see the like OK buttons. That's always happen. Okay, I don't know why they never solve this. So then this one will be changed, then smaller, then you will be able to click. So that's why I will not touch that. So one thing I would like to go through.
What image are you using? What image are you using to see the pictures? What image are you downloading?
What is image?
Yes.
Oh, this image is just like for, this is like very just exit files, picture files, yeah. And we will have, I will show you what we are using, okay? So, but you guys don't have access.
Oh.
So, but we will share, because there's a many gigabytes, okay? Many gigabytes. I don't want to put, yeah. So this is the image file. One thing I would like to tell you, like image files, right? This is about the metadata, right? So exif. And if you have the internet open, they should be able to show you the map, okay, where they are. So they have their longitude, right? Those like position information, GPS position, all those information. So you could find here. And it may ask you what is the whether it's the iPhone taken, which iPhone, right? Which product. So the information all here and the timestamps as well. So so that's kind of like for you guys is limited, right? So you can just take a look, and if you want to click on some of the stuff like index search, right? So for example, this one I would like to search Canon, right? Okay, so you can add this into it, and then you can, oh, there's nothing here. That's weird. Let me go back. I can go to the index search, right? Okay, so maybe I can go, I can remove this part, right? And then maybe put Apple here. Oh, I use this too much. In my hand is kind of like. iPhone. Hopefully we can find those information. Yeah, there's lots of iPhone, right? Okay, so if you do search, you could have like options, right? There's lots of options here. What type of search you're doing, limit this file size, right? Limit what like a statement or phonic or fuzzy, right? So those are all things you can do all timestamps, right? So and then when you do search, you can go further and limit yourself to, like, for example, only like checked files, some files you think is important, you want to check, right? Then you will search there. Or specific files, right? What type of files, right? For example, automated data streams, bookmark files, or covered files, all those things you could choose. So, but here I don't want to do that because I will just all include it. And it will, as you can see, the search is very quick, right? So index search is already, because they already indexed, right? So by the words, so then they can get the information very quick. But if you are doing a live search, if the case is huge, that will take a very long time. But sometimes you have to do a live search, for example, phone numbers, right? Credit card information. But sometimes you have to use those things. So then anything about the pattern, you have to use live search most of the time, okay? So I think recently, I think they have some index search. They could also do something like that. Okay, you could put a Python in it. Okay, so but I have to follow instruction. I don't teach this course for like two years. I forgot about it already. Okay, so that's why every time when I need to teach, I have to practice a few hours. So that's a pain. Okay, that's a pain because the student may ask questions, right? Then if you don't know where to, you have to know very well to be able to answer. Okay. And this is way too much detail. But that's the nature of the digital forensics, right? Okay. So I think you also, one of you guys asked about the right about this the image files. We do create image files for this course. It's called a safe image, okay, computer forensic image, and this is the one we use for our training and in our class as well, undergraduate class, okay.
What I do with mine, I had FTK, they send me entire academic, English keynote. Last CD,
Yes.
single was 16 gigabytes of
Mhm.
English content. So basically, as you go through the textbook,
Mhm.
at every stage of the class, they had an image that you could tie into the subject matter. So
Yes.
you gotta do
So, yeah, that's before, many years ago, I used their stuff. So, the great part is the labs is already well written, right? And then the only thing is we cannot, we have to control. If the material is downloaded by our students, then it could be an issue because they may distribute it to some other person.
So what we did was we put everything
Into
in
NDG,
that
right?
app, so they
Yeah.
can download.
Yeah. That, because before we don't have, and most of the people, they may not have that ADG. So then what do we do? So then I create this image, and then if you want to use it, then you can use for this purpose, right? Okay. So, but anyway, for our training, I don't know if our license, I think it should be okay because we have a license. Tell them this is for one PNW students. So then for anybody right in the world. So then I think it will not compromise the license agreement. But the material could be. So that's why we created this one for the training, so we can share for free. Okay, share for free. Great question. Okay, thank you. And so these are the this is forensics image we created. So we can we create a lot of those material, right? As you can see, right? You see, I show you guys the labs, right? And as well as the lecture files. Okay, lectures. Okay, so this is the as you can see, very limited, right? Because we don't want to create like terabytes, because whenever we make that, it could be like, if, hundreds of gigabytes, right? Then nobody can use. So we just make it as it's adjusted, right? Image, okay? So then it's called AD image, right? Okay, so then that would be like a few gigabytes, and then everybody can share and they can download. Okay, so here I just want to show a little bit more about, if you want to add more evidence, right, to this one, for example, you can add evidence here. You don't need to follow me, okay? So I can add evidence. As you can see, right, this is like almost similar to that autopsy thing, right? A quad image or contained, right, the individual files and the physical drive and the logic drive, right? You don't want to take a look at the physical drive. Logic drive, virtual hard disk may be okay, right? Okay, so we can go to desktop, right? I think it's desktop, probably. Go to the demo material, lecture 2. And of course, we have to change the file types, right? To all. And then now we can, this is something different from autopsy and then the FDK, right? We can select both. So instead of go, and by default, we should always change this, like the process options. But I'm afraid of this because, the window will be, the part of window I cannot see, okay? I have to change the resolution, then everything will be changed. I don't want to do that. So then I will not do that, okay? So I will just click on OK. And then it will process, okay? So that's kind of like the, how to, create a case, right? Something for using FDK, okay? FDK, okay? So this may take a little bit of time. Don't worry, okay? So just if you, less than 1 minute, it should be done. Question, yes?
Teacher students, when it comes to images recovered from, say, solid state drives or trim, or cases where maybe you have a laptop that's BitLocker encrypted, but the encryption key is covered. Where maybe those artifacts are still hard to find.
For that part, actually, we didn't cover. I know it's always a very important thing, right? And that's why we need to have a community, right? So if you have something like lectures, labs available, that would be great. So I know that when I take the training, I do have that, I learned, I practice that. So when we do create these labs, we didn't do that. So yeah, thank you.
That you would be making your curriculum available to the blog. So are you gonna upload your labs too, or just?
Yes, labs and of course evidence forms, right? Also that's useless.
So if I reach out to you, can you share those labs with me?
We may need to go through a little bit clean process because I know I have like my staff members to do that. So because some of the material need to make sure they are consistent, and some we need to check whether this is still relevant, right? So some of the stuff, for example, we use a picture from someone else. We have to give the credit to make sure it's not a copyright right issue. So I have to be very, very careful about when I teach. Sometimes like inside the class, I will not need to cite or very details, right? But when we share, that's a totally different story. So that's kind of like I'm very careful, very, very careful. Yeah.
So one more question about the law enforcement training.
Mhm.
How did you approach the law enforcement people like with you?
Oh, that's a business secret. Yeah. So yeah, maybe Michael can.
We actually do a lot of reaching out to the local law enforcement community. We have somebody on our staff who actually has connections with them. I have some connections with them. My status, they get those. There's a lot of people who transition to law enforcement, so there's a lot of overlap like that. So it's not easy to just like call one and say, hey, look, people to do some training. That's how we do it.
Yeah, and law enforcement, they also need to have a professional development, right, requirement. So they have like 20 some hours every year, right, something like that. So then you have to work with, collaborate with their law enforcement academy, right? So then they can sign off.
They all have a training. So they have somebody who's going to be in charge of keeping track of those records, and somebody who's going to sign off on whether or not what they're doing is going to be considered professional.
Outreach and engagement always important, right? Okay, so yeah.
Thank you so much for
Okay.
Thank
Thank you. So I think this case is finished, right? So I think this is just how to create a case for using FTK. Okay. So of course, FTK you have to pay a little bit of money, right? So the good part is that even though it's like I think it's $100 per license, okay, 2,500 if you get certified, right, to have a certain license for your students, but you don't need to update every year. So that means if you get one, you can use for 3 years. That's very cheap, right? Yeah. Yeah, you pay.
For 3 years.
No, we pay,
Every year?
3,600 a year for 30 licenses. We got them, a network license. So
Yeah. How much?
3,600.
36?
Yes.
I don't know. We got a deal is like, if you don't need to update the software, like, we still use 7.4. So if we don't want to update, I can use forever. That's what they tell me.
The cloud version is.
No, it's not cloud. It's just network license.
Cloud version.
So we didn't update them for 2 years. So they're still using. So maybe it's because we have used for like many years, we use for like many of things, right? Maybe that's the partnership.
Ours was 2,500 a year.
25 a year, right? Okay. So, but you can try after they expire. You
Well, I haven't used it all times. For like 18 months.
Yeah. So.
We can all budget.
Yeah. So you can try not renew. It says expired, but the tool is still okay to use. Okay. It's just they will provide no support for you. Okay. Yeah. Hey, but don't tell me, tell you. Okay. So, in case it's cheaper. In case I thought it's almost the same. Yes, question.
Just last month. So
To in case.
money,
So I think it probably because I think they may change the policy, like you can use multiple years. Before they do require us to update like every year to pay that annual fee, but now they don't. because they never ask say, because otherwise before whenever expanded, then I cannot run those tools. Now we can. Are we almost done or how much time?
5 minutes.
Okay.
It's not a question, it's a comment. I took computer forensics course at Purdue in 2003 from Matt Rogers. Since then I've been teaching that class. And what I do, instead of buying all the license for FTK or all the tools, Celebrate, all the tools that students need to do a forensics lab, I use two approaches. One, I use Engage tool, and it has all the hands-on, all the labs there.
You have to pay.
You still gotta pay.
Oh, you still have to pay.
And the other option that I'm using now is the Easy Counsel, that the computer forensics, the basic or the advanced. The advantage of that is that, well, you know, Easy Counsel, the basic course is $70, and the advanced is $200.
Okay.
Your school is registered. But it has all the hands-on, all the.
Michael, can you give out like handout to our audience?
Well, here,
Sorry,
the Easy Counsel, it has also all the hands-ons, all the PowerPoints, all the recording lectures. But the advantage is that at the end of the class, the students can take the exam, and they pass, they have the certification. They have for network security, ethical hacking, or computer forensics. The advanced or the beginners. The beginners is just $70. The advanced is $200.
So you use the lab, right?
You need to register with Easy Counsel, but then you don't need to buy the expensive license for FTK or for case or for, you have everything that the students need in one platform with very clear instructions.
That's great.
It is great to do that, but you need the students to be exposed to an industry.
Correct.
Too.
Yeah.
It's very, because if a student gets FTK and they pass the exam, they can be a digital examiner and use FTK. So if they have private investigator in the area, most private investigators, they are not versed in using forensic tools. So that student can benefit from the private investigator to get a lot of hours in becoming a private investigator also just by volunteering their service.
There are two issues, I guess. There are two issues. One is that we cannot force our student to pay extra. Because if you ask them to pay extra, sometimes some students may raise that question, and then we have to be very careful. There could be a legal issue. And the second is that if we are using Easy Counsel things, right, we are like bounding us to a specific vendor, and then that could also bring up,
the comment is just to have other options for people, because you don't have to force the student to pay for extra. It's just the textbook that the student has to pay anyway.
Yeah, sometimes, I know, right? It could be cheaper, but sometimes students still bring this up, and it's almost difficult to answer that, right? To like our administrators, they say, no, you cannot force them to do this, right? So that's why we want to have our own control, right? We just deliver everything for free for them. They don't have any extra charge. Okay, suppose they will be happy, or sometimes they will not be happy, right? Because our material may not be 100% consistent sometimes. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Before we wrap up, Michael is presenting with our workshop series for the new. We were recording what he was talking about, so it will be available on YouTube along with all of our other ones. We also have one more coming up this semester. Please pass it along to your new and early faculty as well as anybody else in your department. It's going to be in May.